If your child came home and said they wanted to dress up as a furry animal, such as the ones pictured here, you would assume that they are invited to some kind of birthday party, and you would ask for the details of whose birthday it is, when it is, where it is, what animal would they want to dress up as. But on the other hand, what if your child came home and said they identify as one of these animals pictured here? You would think, I would assume, that that's a little bit mad and there's possibly something wrong. But ironically, not according to the safer schools. Let's have a serious conversation. So welcome back to the channel. So believe it or not, there is yet a further trend flying around about children identifying as something else. Now, in this particular case, we're talking, I kid you not, about furry animals. So I read in the Daily Mail, the Mail Online, about a school safeguarding organization, ironically enough, being criticised for issuing guidance, which I'll come back to in a moment on this page here, which has only just been recently been published, because they are providing guidance to support children who genuinely identify, they say, as a furry animal of some kind. Now, there is a serious side to it, which I will come back to in all fairness, but it is very narrow, very niche, and I think warrants its own special kind of attention. But the problem that I see here is this, as this Daily Mail article puts it, which I will link in the description below, is sort of trying to normalize this behavior. Now, as I said, you might initially think that this is just dressing up, children wanting to dress up as a dog or a cat or a bear or whatever these things are here. But you'd be wrong, at least according to safer schools. Because if we look down here, there is a section, if I can find it again, called Common Misconceptions. So things that people commonly misunderstand about this whole thing. One of the common misconceptions listed here, in fact, the first one listed here, is that cosplaying, which is for anyone that goes to events and dresses up as characters out of a comic book or whatever. I never did any of that, but for those that may not be familiar with that, they dress up as characters and go to these events. And it's a whole load of fun for the people that go. They dress up as their favorite character or whomever, and that's called cosplaying. Okay, there are various other types of cosplaying, but we won't go there. But one common misconception this website suggests is that cosplaying and furries, as this community is referred to, are the same community. Now, you have to really take a step back and think, what is it that we are encouraging our children to understand here? Now, to me, cosplaying just means putting on a costume and having fun in one sense or another. And so if someone were to be putting on a furry costume like this and going to an event such as that, whatever that event is, I would assume that is cosplaying. I would assume that is some kind of putting on a costume, going and having fun, a bit like a fancy dress party, as we all traditionally know them to be. However, this website would have you believe that cosplaying and furries are not the same community. So what is a furry and what is the furry community? Well, this website has you understand that furries are people who have an active interest in animal characters with human characteristics. These characters are often created by the community members themselves, who take on a fursona, an alternate persona, who interacts with other fursonas in the community via role-playing and art. All very well, you might think, still sounds very much like cosplay to me. However, this goes on. The fursona community embodies characteristics, personality traits, physical attributes, and projected ages desired by the individual creator. So this is taking it one step further than simply having fun and playing a role to suggest that some members even make or purchase vibrant costumes of their characters and usually wear them in a public forum. There are worldwide conventions and meets as they act and gather. This website goes on to say, what can I do if a child or young person in your care begins to show an interest in joining a community, be it online, offline, etc., and how to handle it. It even says that this is, whilst this is specific to the furry community, we believe this is interchangeable with other types of role-playing. And it says you should engage in a conversation about what it means to be a furry and the benefits of the furry community. Outline what sort of behavior is appropriate and respectful online or offline. Do your homework and familiarize yourself, that's you, not the child, with the different forums and the terms used by the furry community to ensure that you know what you're discussing. Approach it with interest and no judgment. My apologies, because I do have a judgment for this, which is this is perfectly fine if it's all seen to be a bit of fun and acknowledged as dressing up as a dress-up party and dress-up bit of fun. But I don't agree to normalize this behavior, and neither, for what it's worth, does the Campaign for Real Education. I'll link them in the description below as well. And the website even acknowledges here, it says it's normal for young people to express themselves through dressing up at events like Comic-Con and so on. Yes, absolutely. But not if it is a identity thing. If they genuinely start to believe that they identify as this animal, I think that's a bit mad, frankly. The website also acknowledges certain risks. And one of the risks that it identifies here is that the idea of a fursona, an alternate persona of a furry animal, can blur the line between real life and created reality. This might encourage a vulnerable person to engage in risk-taking activity that they would not normally do, or ignore the responsibilities of their everyday life to focus on their other reality. Yes, that is exactly my point. That is why I have a judgment about this whole issue. I don't have an issue with children dressing up as animals to go to a party, to have fun, an animal party, whatever you want to call it. I have no criticism of Comic-Con and people dressing up as comic characters, film characters, or whatever, and having fun. Of course not. But if we have from organizations which is supposed to, or as it suggests, safer schools, make schools safer, this should not be encouraged as a normality for children to identify as such animals. Now, there is a very narrow exception, and which should be dealt with very sensitively by itself. I agree. And the website does acknowledge this. That is disability, autism, and any relation with this so-called furry community. And as it says here, a significant aspect found in the demographic of the furry fandom is the appeal that it has to children with disabilities. I fully support if a child has a recognized and properly medically diagnosed disability of any sort, and this is going to help them in any way whatsoever. I myself, when I was, I think, 16 or 17, or so, perhaps a little bit younger, I went to special needs schools, as they were at least then referred to deliver music workshops to many disabled children there, because I felt that music would help those children to just experience further emotions and interactions with each other. And when I was playing music for them, some of the staff came out with cameras and took photographs, and they were jumping for joy. And I was a little confused as to why they were so excited. And so I asked, and they said, the parents have never seen this child smile and laugh before. And it was all because of the music. So that's something I will never forget. And so I absolutely support that 100%. What I don't support is if we are in some way going to normalize children to identify as a furry animal when they wouldn't otherwise have identified as a furry animal, or anything else for that matter, when they should just be, as this suggests, kept safe. So let me know what you think in the comments. Am I barking completely up the wrong tree here? Pun intended. Or is there justification for me finding this just a little bit bizarre? I think it's bizarre. I think it's dangerous. I think we're on a dangerous path if we start to normalize any kind of self-identification along this path. Where will it end? We have a duty, a responsibility to keep children safe. Those are my views. You are welcome to disagree with them. But there is a duty upon everybody, and indeed for schools, a special duty of care to take care of children. Let me know what you think in the comments. Make sure you like this video and subscribe, because 60% of you are still not subscribed. So please do that. It genuinely helps my channel grow to reach a wider audience. And with that, I thank you for watching.